But when it comes to things like panic attacks specifically, so I have struggled with agoraphobia now since 2017, on and off. But at times it has left me housebound for months, with the exception of my parents dragging me out to a doctor's appointment or something like that. This time last year, I had a business that was, or actually over a year ago now, about a year and a half ago, I had a dog grooming business, a mobile dog grooming business that I had started up. And that essentially came crashing down because my agoraphobia got so severe, in which before I would even leave the house to go groom a dog, I would start to panic about every potential thing that could go wrong. And these panic attacks wouldn't just manifest in the form of just, heavy breathing and heart racing. And, they would manifest, they started out that way, at the beginnings, but over years and years of having this, it was, people would look at me and they would say, "Are you having a seizure?" My eyes, I would lose motor function. It would manifest in ways that were very uncomfortable, to say the least. It wasn't just like when people say panic attacks or it just feels like the end of the world. Yes, it absolutely does, but it's not just in your brain, it's in your entire body, just going haywire and shutting down in ways that are not fun and scary in the moment, because it feels like that's all that will be, like I said earlier, when you're in the darkest of the dark and the worst of the worst, it's hard to see out of that. And so when you're going through a specific moment where, your motor functions are causing you to act out and maybe, punch yourself or punch a wall. And thankfully I was never one to act out and punch others, but I did take it out on myself, which was difficult to deal with over time. Self-injury is not something that I took very lightly and still don't to this day. And I'm proudly, have done a lot of work with my therapists over the years to mitigate my coping mechanisms to be less harmful to me. And that's something that I had to work on. It's not like you can just expect to replace something that you relied on for so long, but over time, it's a matter of really being resilient and working at it, because your brain can be rewired. It just won't happen overnight. It requires a lot of work for me to go from wanting to default to these very intense coping mechanisms that were harmful and could potentially land me in a hospital, which was never going to be helpful in the end. But it's hard to see that in the moment, so you see that as your way out.